Hi again then guys, and so we've got another PP specific track set up for you today, and this time it's for one of the most popular prototype race cars in the game. It's the Toyota Minolta 88C-V race car, and this is for the 700 PP category, so that you can get a decent amount of power and performance out of the car without really wasting its potential. So I would recommend having racing soft tyres, but obviously that's down to personal preference. For the suspension, we've got the ride height on 60, front and rear. We've reduced the springs to 1425 and 1575. Dampers to 4, anti-roll to 5, camber on 3 with neutral toe. For the gearbox, we've got an auto setting of 249. Then for the individual gears, we've got 4, 2.6, 1850, 1400, 1100 and 875 with a final drive of 3.1. For the diff, you want the lowest initial torque to reduce that wheel spin off the line and out of corners, high acceleration to stiffen up the steering, and low braking sensitivity for the same reason. As far as the power, we've got the mid-range turbo. The reason for that is because with the mid-range turbo, it gives you more of a range of effectiveness on a wider variety of tracks. Not just top end, not just low end, whereas mid-range can be used on pretty much any racetrack really. And as far as downforce, obviously we've got it as high as possible because this is primarily for track use, not just straight line machine. And we've got a 50 kilo ballast, which we've put 20% toward the rear of the car. A couple of reasons for that. One is, of course, to allow more power into the 700 PP category, because that is one of this car's strongest points, its sheer straight line speed. But also to increase the amount of weight grounding the rear tyres to reduce wheel spin and help it get that massive power and torque down to the road. So that's it for the tune setup. Now let's take it out to the track to see what it can do. Now pretty much anyone who's played GranTurismo before will probably already know how good the Minolta is. It's a massively popular car, possibly even the most popular prototype from GranTurismo 4, probably still GranTurismo 5, and possibly even GranTurismo 6. There are of course now bigger, badder rivals for the car, but it's still got a massive following of fans, and for good reason. It's one of the strongest all-round prototypes in the game, significantly lighter to begin with than its rivals, huge power, massive acceleration, and it's a pretty good looking car as well, which always helps if you like to look at the car you're driving. It's my personal belief that you'll probably drive it better. Now, this is of course Le Mans, obviously, and this is the track where this car really would be the obvious choice to use. That strong straight line performance, huge power, and it can get around this track, which is the 2013 version with the chicanes. On my first attempt I did a 3-minute 13-second lap, so it's certainly a seriously quick car. It could certainly do quicker with a better driver than me, so the potential is definitely there, and that's with the mid-range turbo, not even the top-end turbo. Top speed, even with the full downforce, is around the 220-230 region on this track. It can go faster than that, but it's because of the bumpy road. Handling is so much better with the downforce set high. I mean, that's an obvious thing to say, but many people don't seem to have the downforce set high on this car, and you can kind of tell. They have rampant wheel spin out of corners, the car's fishtailing all over the place. But if you set up the car properly, it's a beast. I mean, it's a monster anyway, but you can make it into even more of a beast in a competitive way, not just in a challenging way, if you set it up properly. Now, even though it's vastly improved with this tune over the stock handling, stock of course being a relative term, I would recommend this for people who have a bit more experience driving prototypes. Not that it's the most difficult prototype to drive, but you need some understanding of how these machines drive and how to treat them in order to get the best out of this car. For the 700 PP category, it's massively competitive, and I've designed it, as I mentioned in the first part of the video, to be competitive on a pretty broad spectrum of tracks, which is why I didn't design it just for top speed or just for handling. It's kind of a mix of both, so that you can use it on Le Mans, the Nuremberg Ring, and pretty much anything in between. So, if you decide to use this tune, obviously I hope you find it very competitive, and I'm pretty sure it will be. And if you're new to the channel, or just found this helpful in general, and you'd like to get tunes like this as soon as they come out, feel free to stab that subscribe button below. And as always, thanks for watching.